Mailbag time here on Ravens Rundown. You got questions? You're in luck because I got answers. We will get right to it here on this edition of the Ravens Rundown. We'll begin our first question in the mailbag in just one moment. But first, want to thank you guys for helping us reach 10,000 subscribers on the channel. Could not have done it without our loyal following from the Ravens flock. It has been my pleasure over this last year plus to bring you daily Ravens content. We'll continue to do so. And we got an exciting watch party coming up here in a few days. I got to tell you, flock, you have not seen nothing yet. As we cross this milestone, there's more exciting days ahead. So stay tuned, stay subscribed. We got you covered with all the latest happenings on your Baltimore Ravens right here on the channel. Let's get started with the mailbag. Go Ravens 4758 writes, okay, let's be honest. Any chance a Jonthan Taylor trade can happen? That backfield would be so deadly. Go Ravens 4758. Man, a Jonthan Taylor trade. I'll say it's unlikely, but I'm not saying it's impossible. Okay? The asking price, I think you're looking at that you can bring in Jonthan Taylor probably for about a second-round pick. And in the Ravens' case, with where they're at of the uncertainty with J.K. Dobbins, I think Jonthan Taylor looks more likely by the day, he or another running back, until they figure out the situation that's going on with J.K. Dobbins, till they get him a deal one way or the other, decide to move on. Jonthan Taylor's as good as any running back in the National Football League, with over 861 yards rushing, 4 touchdowns last year in his down year. Year prior, when he was a first-team All-Pro, over 1,800 yards, 18 touchdowns. Jonthan Taylor would not just take this offense, but this entire team with the Baltimore Ravens to a whole nother level. I'm very open to this possibility to bring in Jonthan Taylor, provide some relief for Lamar Jackson. Even if you keep J.K. Dobbins around, have a 1-2 punch, force Lamar not to have to run as much. Ravens haven't had a 1,000-yard rusher in several years. Jonthan Taylor could certainly do that. So it's possible. We'll see. Lamar Goated 8 says, are you still open to Dalvin Cook signing? Yeah, I am. For the same reasons as mentioned for Jonthan Taylor. Dalvin Cook, you look at his circumstance, he is a bit older than Jonthan Taylor, but he would probably be somewhat cheaper when you talk about the long term, because whoever trades for Jonthan Taylor is going to have to pay Jonthan Taylor his second contract. Dalvin Cook, you're looking at maybe a 1 or 2 year deal. And, you know, there's been this, how do I describe it, a false narrative that Dalvin Cook is done playing at a high level just because the Minnesota Vikings moved on from him. And it's just simply not true. You look what he did last year. He's coming off a season where he had nearly 1,200 yards, about 4.5 yards per carry, 8 touchdowns. Dalvin was really good last year still. And I think Dalvin would be an upgrade over what the Ravens got. So, yeah, I would be open to Dalvin Cook. I prefer Jonthan Taylor, but either one would help this backfield go a long way. And if J.K. Dobbins isn't happy, if he doesn't want to play for what his contract is when he hasn't even earned the second contract yet, if he's not happy, then if I'm John Harbaugh and I'm Eric DeCosta, I'm saying, fine, we got better options. We don't have to deal with this. We don't have to deal with your nonsense, J.K. Pick a running back. Which guy would you rather have, Jonthan Taylor or Dalvin Cook? I'd rather have Jonthan Taylor, but I'd take either one, to be honest. It's our pinned comment today. Weigh in. Tell us what you think of the comment section. Type JT for Jonthan Taylor. Type DC for Dalvin Cook. Josh Ravens 41 says, could and also should the Ravens sign Justin Houston? Yes, they absolutely should sign Justin Houston. You look at this Ravens team, and there's 2 glaring things that stand out. The running back position, obviously, with the uncertainty with J.K. Dobbins, but then also an edge rusher spot. And it's so funny to me that when we look at these situations, sometimes we try to think, oh, what are they going to do to get out of this mess? Like, do you make a trade? You go free agency? Like, how do you fix this glaring weakness? Well, in the Ravens' case, it's pretty easy. Go bring back the guy that led your team in sacks last year with 9.5. Sounds simple enough, right? That's what I would do. Does that take a genius to figure that out? Not to mention Justin Houston's a great teammate, great leader. Father Time has not beat Justin Houston. He still has something left in the tank. I would like to see Justin Houston come back. Ravens got a little bit of cash to spend now, too. They can bring in another name or two. Justin Houston would be a good fit. So, yes, I would be all in favor of signing Justin. Feed That Flock 52 says, which player has been impressing the most so far at Ravens training camp? Feed the Flock 52. Let me tell you about a guy by the name of Zay Flowers. Zay Flowers is turning heads at training camp with what he's been able to do. The first-round pick out of Boston College has been nothing short of outstanding so far in this first week plus. And really going back to OTAs and the off-season program, Zay Flowers has been really good. 78 catches, over 1,000 yards, 12 touchdowns, and 13 yards of reception at BC. And also doing so with not very good or consistent quarterback play at Boston College. Now we've heard the reports of what he's done so far in camp from the media, from the coaches and his teammates, and they're saying that he's making an instant impact, that he's shifty, and there's a chance, I think, that Zay Flowers might be the number one receiver for this Ravens team immediately, that he's going to have that type of impact right away. Watch out for Zay Flowers next year. He is him, as the kids say. I think you're going to be very impressed with what you see out of Zay Flowers. And not just Zay Flowers, but this receiving core as a whole for Baltimore is going to take a significant step in the right direction. OBJ, Nelson Aguilar, when you get Rashad Bateman back from injury, watch out. Zay Flowers, I think, has got a chance, I kid you not, to even contend for Rookie of the Year. Crowded Rookie of the Year class with Bijan Robinson, Bryce Young, some of those quarterbacks. But don't sleep on Zay Flowers. And he and Lamar have been putting in the work together as well, not just in practices, but they've been doing some workouts on the beach. You know, personally, I like to take a nice walk on the beach, but these guys are working out and enjoying themselves on the beach. So watch out for Zay Flowers. Time for one more question before we go here. Or actually two more questions here. You think the Ravens, or this is the last question, you think the Ravens will win the North, says Victory Ball 77? It's going to be very tough. I think that them and the Bengals are neck and neck. And I would give the Bengals an advantage, but I'll say this. Last year, it was very close, right? Came right down to the wire. And on paper, the Bengals were a much more talented team. On paper, it shouldn't have been that close, right? But the Ravens have the better coaching staff, and Lamar ended up getting hurt and missed the last 5 games. The Bengals ended up taking the division. If the Ravens have better luck when it comes to injuries, okay, and we've already seen the Bengals, Joe Burrow, already has been banged up a little bit. Watch out. The Ravens could make their case and could be contending right there to win this division with Cincinnati. I think it could come down to the very end. You might have a tie and come down to tiebreakers or something, but look out. The Ravens, I think, are the most under-the-radar team in the NFL, that they have the best chance to make some noise and make a statement, come really surprise some people, because they really are just 1 or 2 players away. If they fill those things, then I'm pretty certain they win the division. If they stay where they're at, I'd give an edge to Cincinnati. Subscribe to the channel. We'll keep you posted on your Baltimore Ravens each and every day. Don't miss out on the watch party coming up next week as well. We'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us here on Ravens Rundown.